Alright, you're tuned in to Flow 94.9 FM Umwa here, the flow of God on stage. It's 9 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock already. And of course, today is Wednesday, the 13th day of the month of July 2022. We all know Abia is God's own state, and of course, every well-meaning Abian would want to see a steady development or steady continual development in Abia state, and that's why for those reasons we have this program called A New Abia, hosted by me actually, and of course we have a guest in the studio as well, and the person of Reverend Slick Ogbonnaya Ogo, who is the director as a concerned media to Professor Gregory Ibe. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Omoti. Hi, Abians. Good morning.
All right. So quickly, we'll go to the profile of Professor Gregory Ibe, and as soon as we come back, we'll continue from where we stopped. Don't touch your dial.
Professor Gregory Ibe is a legendary Nigerian business executive and entrepreneur par excellence, the moving spirit of educational transformation in Nigeria, a philanthropist and humanitarian. Professor Gregory Ibe was born on December 10, 1963 in Kaduna, where his parents, natives of Uturu, lived then and worked. Although born and brought up outside his parents' nativity, Professor Gregory Ibe never ceased to be the quintessence of an Igbo son who is in perfect harmony with the rest of mankind world over. He adores his home place Uturu and makes Uturu adorable to the rest of the world. He was not born into easy circumstances of life. Indeed, he had a raw deal with poverty in his early life, which rather spurred him with determination to attain great heights today. His tough early life toughened him to complete his primary, secondary, and tertiary education, alternating between work and education. That was perhaps nature's way to prepare him for his future role in Nigeria as the hope of the hopeless. Professor Gregory Ibe's alma maters include Boys High School, Ihube, Imo State, School of Accountancy and Management Studies, Abia, Enugu State University of Science and Technology, Enugu, California Coast University, Santa Ana, California, where he obtained his master's degree in 2003 and doctorate degree in management in 2006. Professor Gregory Ibe is a great name in Nigeria, particularly in education. Currently, he constitutes the private sector spirit that is shaping science, technology, engineering, mathematics education in Nigeria through his involvement in massive supply of state-of-the-art teaching, learning equipment with innovative pedagogy in the delivery of subjects. His intervention is currently transforming the teaching of science, technology, and mathematics in Nigeria at all levels of education. He has implanted entrepreneurship as a curriculum innovation in education, particularly in business, engineering, and technical vocational education. His landmark achievements in the field of entrepreneurial education, having been recognized by national and international organizations, recently elevated him to the distinguished class of Professor of Entrepreneurial Studies. Professor Gregory Ibe has gone further to establish his private university called Gregory University Uturu, with a focus on applied research, entrepreneurship, and a work-based university education. His university has as mantra, knowledge for tomorrow. Professor Gregory Ibe has also established Gregory Ike Foundation as a humanitarian medium to reach out to the poor and the helpless in Nigeria. The foundation is an affiliation with the World Medical Relief Incorporated and Global Medical Relief Incorporated, all in the United States of America, for execution of medical aid programs in Nigeria. Among the litany of recognitions and awards he has received is the prestigious Abia, the Elephant of Abia, conferred on him by the State Advisory Council. He has also been decorated with a Distinguished Officer of the Order of the Federal Republic, OFR Medal, by the former President, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Professor Gregory Ibe will be remembered for his many philanthropic activities, high point of which includes his distribution of palliatives during the COVID-19 pandemic, during which time he was known to have distributed food items, medical supplies, and all kinds of intervention to Abia state government and to the 17 local government areas of the state. Through his Gregory Ike Foundation, he is currently offering about 400 students different levels of scholarships in his Gregory University Uturu, where they are known to be studying different cases that affect humanity. On the 29th of May 2022, Professor Gregory Ibe emerged as the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance in Abia State for the 2023 elections. Subsequently, much more are in the hands of Professor Gregory Ibe to contribute to uplift humanity, particularly in Abia State and more in Nigeria.
All right, you're welcome back, and don't forget, it's still Flow 94.9 FM. Umwa here, the flow of God's on stage. We still have with us here Reverend Slick Ogwo, the director of communication and strategy, Professor Gregory Ibe Campaign Organization. Once again, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Amati.
All right, quickly, before we go into other questions, recently, on different media platforms, some Abga chieftains made some allegations, of which one of them came out from Chief Itigwe Owa, where he faulted the process, that brought out Professor Gregory Ibe as the Abga candidate for the gubernatorial election come 2023. He faulted it. He said that there were discrepancies, in the process that produced Professor Greg. What would you want to say about that?
Well, Amati, actually, the mission statement of this web program is to unveil the blueprint of the new Abia vision as created by Professor Gregory Ibe. So we actually proposed from the beginning to use different episodes of the program to bring out some of the particulars, some of the things that are contained in that very blueprint. But since somebody has gone to some other channel to begin to talk about a matter that is already in court and made a media hype out of it, I think it would not be proper for us to give a little response, and then before we go back into the full mandate of this very program. Actually, we heard it that it was alleged that the process that produced Professor Gregory Ibe as candidate on the 29th of May was flawed because of the fact that, according to the Learned Council, whom I have immense respect for, I have a deep respect for the person of Etigwe Owasan. But he said that the process that produced Professor Gregory Ibe was flawed because of the fact that about a certain number of delegates, I think he said about 150, were given party identity cards at the gate of that coping society where the primary took place, and then they were given such party identity cards that made it possible for them to vote and come in, and they were instructed to vote for Professor Gregory Ibe. Why, knowing fully well that the matter is in court and delving into it might just be, doing things that out of a normal judicial process. But it's important to point out the fact that each party identity card comes with a passport photograph, and so if you're going to have to produce 150 cards and give to some people at the point of accreditation, then you also need to produce their photographs at the same time and attach it and all that. It would have been a very bogus process. So I want to affirm that nothing like that happened. The case, the matter will be deliberated upon in court and dispensed with. And then he also says something like that it's alleged that Professor Gregory Ibe participated in the Pdp primary before also coming to take part in the Abga primary. And I want to re-emphasize again and again that Professor Gregory Ibe did not participate in any Pdp primaries. What actually happened is that he resigned from PDP on the 30th of March and took up membership of Abga on the 4th of April. And subsequent upon this, if you recall that the PDP governorship primary took place about the 25th of May, and before then, if you need to participate in the primaries, you need to fill that nomination form, fill it, and then submit it to the party. And then you need to avail yourself of opportunity of being screened by the committee. And I want to say that in none of these things did Professor Greg Ibe participate. He did not submit any form. He did collect, friends of his collected a form for him, I guess, around 9th of March, I believe it was, and then brought it down. But when he noticed the things that were going on within the party, because of the fact that the zoning process was not smooth and was not the way...
Okay, that was when he was under the People's Democratic Party.
Precisely. When he noticed what was going on, he turned his prescription letter on the 30th of March and left the party neatly without returning the form that his friends bought for him, without presenting himself for any kind of screening. And so the party primaries happened around 25th of May without his presence. He was not there. But we do know that after the primaries, there was a fake result that was released, and he was awarded about two votes in that very process that he wasn't present for. And we wrote and said to PDP, this is wrong, you need to go public on it, and affirm the fact that this man never participated in the process. He's not a member of the party, he couldn't have taken part in any primaries. So now, they are alleging that the case is in court, and I would like to advise our brothers, chieftains of Abia, to rather tool the way of peace. Professor Gregory Ibe, after the election on that 29th of May, I do recall that Etigu Hassan went up and shook hands with him, which he acknowledged in that interview that took place on Monday, and before leaving the premises. And subsequently, Professor Gregory Ibe has gone out and met with them personally and otherwise, and said to them, we're all winners. Let's join hands together and build this party so that we can at least present a very good front in the elections.
But a quick one, please. We also have another Abga chieftain and the person of Chief Chikwe Udensi, who made claims that Professor Gregory Ibe participated in primaries that produced him, Chikwe Udensi, as the Abga candidate for the gubernatorial election. What would you have to say to that?
Well, for clarity of fact, on the 29th of May, there was one Abga Guba primary election that took place at Pink Society premises. And in that very primary election, there was the full complement of a delegation from Abga headquarters, headed by Echezona Etiaba San, and other members of the team that came and really conducted that very process. There were observers from INEC that came and conducted the process, and the thing was streamed live online. And the 4 aspirants that competed for that very position were there from the beginning. I do recall that the team from Abga headquarters addressed the 4 of them and gave them the format for the election for that very day, and then gave them opportunity to address the delegates. They certified the list of delegates. The 4 aspirants were shown the list of the delegates that came from Abuja. The list came from their national headquarters in Abuja.
Was Chikwe Udensi part of that particular process?
He was there. It's not something that is hidden. All you need to do is go online and Google that very primary, and you see the pictures. He was there. And then he spoke to the delegates, addressed them, and tried to get them to vote for him. After the 4 aspirants spoke to the delegates, they were ushered into the hall, the venue proper for the primary election, and they all sat down there. Only after a while, Chief Udensi excused himself, and we didn't know where he went to. The election was in process, everything there, with a full complement of journalists from all the media inside that hall. In the middle of the election, we now received a report online that he had declared himself winner in a separate...
You're saying he declared himself winner? That's
precisely
what you're saying?
Yes, precisely.
So there was no supervision by the Independent National Electoral Commission.
That is what you
whatever he claimed.
That is what you expect, that some official should make the declaration. But no official was mentioned as having declared that there was a winner elsewhere. There was no other primary election. That's what I'm saying.
But for the fact that there are litigations on ground already, is Professor Gregory Ibe perturbed?
Now, it's a process in electioneering. Normally, there will be all kinds of litigations. The issue simply is that people want to rise up and distract the focus of the man who wants to do something, and we're aware of all that. But what we're saying is that there is no need for all that. The case is in court, and the processes of the legal, whatever action is going on now, the lawyers are there attending to the matter. But at the same time, we are begging and saying, look at this situation. Why not stop the media war? Because people are going on air to discuss a matter that should be handled somewhere else, maybe in court or discussed and settled. And they're coming to the media to distract, to disturb, to remove the focus of this man who has made up his mind to come out and serve the people. What crime did he commit? He came out and said, I want to salvage a bad situation. And so the fact need to be put clear that actually there were no primary election on the 29th of May. There was only one, because of the fact that the full complement of INEC came to inspect or came to supervise this process. They were there at Coping Society. The full complement of Abia headquarters, headed by H.S.N.I. Basan, and other members of the delegation were there, and they were the ones that conducted the process. And finally, that the process is still verifiable online. Anybody that goes online will see, from the time of accreditation to the point of balloting, to the point of collation of votes, to the point of announcement, everything is there. You can see how everybody participated. So it is no longer the days of darkness when you can say anything and then you want us to believe you, because the facts are there.
All right, let's move away a little from politicking, litigations, and what have you. Let's go down to a new Abia itself. The particular mantra Professor Gregory Ibe is promoting. I said now. So let's talk about it. Now, I would like to ask you this question. Housing and shelter, is a very important, and when it comes to the overall development. We're
talking about the new Abia.
Of course, of course.
If we want to talk about the new Abia, definitely there is a foundation. There is a beginning.
Okay.
The beginning is that somebody that wants to serve the people has to present himself as a prepared person. It begins from the fact that this person that wants to serve the people has prepared himself, has been prepared by God also for this very task and assignment. Because what we have noticed is that oftentimes people are somehow rolled into a project of this magnitude without necessarily being prepared for it. People sometimes say to you that my people have now asked me to come out to run. Somebody is sitting in his house, and then they'll come and say to him, you are the person that we want you to come and run.
All right.
The person enters without preparation.
Okay.
So I want to lay the foundation of the fact that somebody prepared himself. It took a lot of years, and within that season, he was able to carry out research. He was able to travel from one point to another, sorting out the problems of the people that he wants to lead, and then he was able to now find solutions to those problems. And those solutions he put together in a document called A New Abia. And that document is what we intend to unveil gradually until we can get Abians to buy into the fact that a prepared candidate has come. And you look at him and assess him from the standard of what he has put ahead of you, what he said he's going to do, and from what he has done already. And you can assess whether he has the capacity to bring a new Abia completely from the ruins of the past onto something new.
All right, we'll go back to that particular document, and we're going to talk extensively, on that particular document, A New Abia by Professor Gregory Ibe. But we want to place a call, to someone right now, on the person of Honorable Obina Ichita, who is the APGA leader in Abia State. But before then, would need to go on on a very short break, and we'll be back. Don't touch your dial. All right, you're welcome back to the show, and of course it's a new Abia on Flow 94.9 FM. Just before we went on that short break, I told you that we'll be placing a call to a lawmaker in Abia State, and the person of Honorable Obinna Ichita, who is the APGA leader here in Abia State. So we're placing a call to him right now to react, to some of these allegations, and I know the document in New Abia by Professor Gregory Abia as well. We're trying to reach him. We're trying to still make sure the call gets through to him.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Honorable. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Yes, sir. I believe I'm speaking with Honorable Obinna Ichita.
Speaking.
Okay, perhaps you heard Reverend Sleek, respond to some allegations that were made by some APGA chieftains, in Abia State. We talked about the one chief Etigwe Owa talked about when he made allegations where he faulted the process, that produced Professor Gregory Ibe as the go-back candidate under APGA come 2023 elections, and the allegation that concerns the fact that Chikwe Udensi also made some allegations where he said that Professor Gregory Ibe participated in primaries, or in a particular primary that produced him, Chikwe Udensi, as the APGA candidate for the governorship election come 2023. Hello. So we want you to react to that.
Okay. Firstly, whenever elections come and go, there are bound to be reactions. Some people who win elections, of course, will be happy, and those who lost naturally will not be happy. But then, what distinguishes one, as one that has what people normally refer to as the spirit of sportsmanship, is the manner in which one accepts defeat. And of course, on the other side, what distinguishes another as a person of honor and integrity is the way and manner he manages the victory. With special reference to the two persons you mentioned, Etiwowa, S-A-N, and Chikwe Udensi. These are two different individuals, but both of them, alongside another Avian, General Ijoma, participated in the primary election that produced Professor Greg Ibe as the Guba candidate. That one, of course, is no longer news. Then for Chikwe Udensi to now turn around and allege, in fact, all of us there on that day, we were all shocked, because while the protest was still ongoing, Chikwe Udensi, who was present there, pretended like he was going to the restroom. I can tell you this because I was present. He pretended that he was going to the restroom and ran away.
So you saw him when he left the venue. You saw him when he left and was approaching the restroom.
I was there. I was present. All of them were present. When the accreditation was done, but immediately we were about to start the voting process, or immediately just shortly after the commencement of the process, Chikwe left. And when Chikwe left from there, Chikwe informed his handlers that he had won election that was still in process. And thankfully, the chairman of the electoral ABGA Governorship Electoral Committee, that committee was headed by no other personality, no less a personality than Echezona Etiaba, a senior advocate of Nigeria, refuted such fake news that emanated from Chikwe. He refuted it here and then. The leadership of the party, of course, issued another release pointing to the fact that the election had just commenced. But nobody should be shocked because we've known that Chikwe has always played the role of a spoiler. There are many people in Abia State whose duty it is.
That is a strong allegation because you said we know. I'll prefer you personalize it because not everybody knows what he just said right now. I would just want you to personalize it. Let it be that yes, this is coming from Honorable Ichita, that he knows that Chikwe Udensi is a spoiler and not we know, because while you're pluralizing it, we are assuming that you're talking for a whole lot of people. You understand? So I want you to personalize it instead, please.
Okay, thank you for that. But then it's no news. I'm very, 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 very careful about my choice of words. When I say that people I've said it before, the state government, of course, has people that work for them in different political parties to ensure that people of Abia do not experience the much needed paradigm shift. Chukwudensi's area of operation is Abga. I've always said that people know it is no longer.
But please, let me ask you this question: with this particular development, is this an indication that there's a faction in Abga State? Is Abga factionalized?
No, not at all. Abga is not. If anything, the victory of Professor Greg Ibe has rather unified Abga. I say this because when you look at the personality of the person we are having a discussion about, I'm talking about our own governorship candidate, you will have no difficulty identifying the fact that he powers above every other Abian, presently, that is as far as position. We are talking about a personality that has ensured that many of our people have unfettered access to education. Do you know many people that this man is training on scholarship? Can you even imagine why is it that even as a governorship candidate, nobody has faulted the reputation of his university? If somebody can manage a complex organization like a university, if somebody can manage the Framework Innovate Center in Abuja, if somebody can ensure that his people, via the attainment of social mobility, of course, that comes with the attainment of educational qualification and experience, if somebody can assure that his people have access to such developmental strides, you have no difficulty in identifying the fact that this person possesses all you need to make a good governor.
All right.
The situation of Abia is so bad that we only need the best. Our state is owing 91,410 million, and nothing has been done anywhere. I'm talking about local debt, 91,410 million. Doctors in Abia State are on strike. Our children could not write junior yet. People who work in different places are not in page.
All right,
we only
Honorable.
Be sure that we experience social mobility.
Okay. All right. We would have to let you go. Thank you very much, Honorable Obi Naichita, for attending to our call there. Thank you. All right. Let's go back to this particular document in New Abia. We want you to make succinct assessment of the special features as it concerns in New Abia.
Well, I want to relate to what Honorable Ichita was just saying, because of the fact that you can feel the anger in his voice. Actually, the situation in the state is so deplorable that somebody can be angry, especially if you have a blueprint of what can be done to better the situation of the state. And so that is why you're hearing him with so much anger. The blueprint which we want to keep unveiling, which is something that Abians can look to and then have hope that there is still a possibility of having a brand new Abia, in spite of the difficulties. Because like I said earlier on, you need to be able to investigate what has happened before now to be able to come to profile some solutions of what need to be done, in spite of the fact that we know that the state is indebted in so many areas, that somebody that is coming to take over in the reign of government should be able to have answers. Like a question is asked, that the state is so heavily indebted, what do we intend to do? The person should have practical solutions to solving such a problem. And so what the new Abia vision actually is all about is the fact that there is so much in terms of locally available resources, natural resources that we can leverage in order to turn things around in the state. First and foremost, the framework that holds the entire structure is the public service. And so what Professor Gregory Ibe has done is commissioned a set of academic eggheads to do an investigation on the present state of the public service within Abia State. And the result of that investigation is what we have now as the Public Service Reform Document, which is going to be implemented. Why is it that we have issues with payment of salaries in some sectors? Why is it that we have issues of non-payment of pensions and gratuities? Why is it that there's some kind of despondency in terms of the workforce? Why are people not motivated to go to work? Why do we have some problems in the area of promotions of public servants and all that? So this document has been produced and it has answers. It's a reform document, knowing fully well that he comes from a background where in 1999 he produced a document that guided the Obasanjo administration to launch the public service reform of that administration. He produced that very document, and so he's also saying that we can leverage that the experience he had from that reform program to also launch a reform of the public service in Abia State. Okay. Then also the document contains an agrarian revolution policy. You see, he worked with Songhai Farms. Songhai Farms is an initiative initiated by a certain Imolite, Professor Zamujo. He lives in Lome. This man initiated a project called the Songhai Farms, and that is an integrated farm project that has been bought into by some states in Nigeria. And he happens to be the African director, Professor Gregory Ibe. So he is bringing on board this concept of leveraging what we have locally in Abia State and turning it around in such a way that we can not just have the products being bought and exported, but also being used to bring about companies, industries within the state. I've given the example, for instance, that he's saying rather than just take the cocoa from Iguano and sell it off, that he's saying to Nescafe, Neso, to come down to Iguano and set up a plant in Iguano so that they can tap the cocoa and then use it on our soil to produce our Nescafe and employ our own people within that place. And such is also being discussed in some other areas. He's talking about reviving the farm estates that Michael Okpara began many years ago, bringing in foreign experts that will be able to bring back the Ohambele, palm estates and things like that. He's talking about the fact that we have these materials already on ground, so there will be an aggressive agrarian policy that will cause these natural resources to be tapped by the state government and then leveraged to produce the kind of IGR that would drive the state. The policy,
but quickly talking about the agrarian policies,
yes.
What do you think about agro-allied industries, where they tap into some of this raw materials and they use them to make finished good for the benefit of human consumption? There's some in Abia State right now that are in moribund state. How does it intend to revive them and to build more industries that could tap into this agricultural product?
That is what the policy is all about. You just summarize it for me. That's what the policy is all about. I've just mentioned one area, which is in Iguana. There are so many other areas which we'll be able to tabulate as time goes, as we go on.
And more could also be...
More will be born. Then, of course, we've talked about the decentralization of administration in Abia State. The new Abia is envisaging an Abia where you don't need to come to Umuahia for everything. You don't need to go to Aba for everything. It's envisaging an Abia that the governor goes to local government areas once in a while to hold state executive council meetings. So he is planning to have the government house annexes in the remaining 16 local government areas of the state, and also schedule state executive council meetings in these places so that he comes on a particular weekend or weekday and holds town hall meetings with stakeholders of that local government area, answer some of their questions with his full executive council there so that they can pick up issues that come from that local government area and then make them part of the state executive council meeting that will hold in that local government area subsequently, and then they will address the problems of that very area. So it's that kind of decentralized administration that will take away the bottleneck of reaching the governor before you can, get something solved. He comes down to you and is able to tackle some of your problems.
But quick one, talking about the government houses, in Abia State, how soon, how soon is it planning to make sure it settles the pertinency of, at least the government house in Numua here, or Abia State in general? Right now, we have a government house that is situated in a rented apartment. So how soon is it going to tackle the pertinency of this particular project?
It will be tackled with the owners of the property. The vision is to have a discussion with them and enable them to have to sell off the property to the state government, or the arrangement of having a rented government house will continue.
According to reports and of which I've also been, I was also a member of the media team, that checked out the government house being started by the former governor and the person of T.A. Orji. Does he? I don't know. Is there any intention of continuing that particular project, or it's just going to be a brand new one entirely?
I can tell you something for sure, Moti. Anybody that knows Greg Ibe will tell you that he will never ever operate a rented government house. Never, not for one day. So the plan is to either buy off that property where we have the government house located,
or situate it at a new place,
or encourage the completion of what
that particular one.
But one thing I can tell you for sure, you can take it to the bank, is that he will never encourage the domiciliation of a government house in a rented apartment. So that of Umuahia is taken for granted that there will be a government house that is owned by the state government, and there is ample property behind the old government house. There is a lot of space there, which he has already made some plans concerning what to do with it all. But the thing is that for the purposes of reaching out to the people on a monthly, weekly basis, he wants to move the government to the local government areas and be able to interact with the people. So that's the concept of decentralization. And so that taking care of education, is his own constituency. On the area of education, he has said we're going to affect the curriculum of our students in the first instance, because of the fact that we're having a situation where we're turning out people from schools who don't have any skills, and he's saying that we must incorporate skill acquisition from the lowest level of educational pursuit, so that our people can come out from school already prepared to function in one area of a professional skill or the other. And so our curriculum will be affected. He did this at the federal level when he worked with the Federal Ministry of Education to innovate the curriculum of the schools in Nigeria. Wherefore, we now have entrepreneurship, which he champions in Nigeria, which he still teaches up to tomorrow in universities. Taught it in ABSU, taught it in Tansi, and is teaching it now in Gregory University. He says, wow, what is wrong with our people learning carpentry from primary school, learning tailoring from primary school, so that they can have skills, growing up? And he's saying, okay, our schools are moribund, and so we have a policy of rescue school project, where we are going to, a kind of research has been done, and we found out we have about 231 secondary schools, public secondary schools in the state, 1,700 primary schools in the state public schools. And they're saying what we are going to do to bring these schools up to date once again is to ensure that we rescue them. And it's a model where each public school, we mobilize the stakeholders of that public school. The schools were built by communities, and the government took them over. So subsequently, what we do is that we get the communities once again to come into partnership with the state government and also the old students of that very school, so that we can form a partnership that will enable us redo critical infrastructure in the schools with a template a model produced by the state government, an architectural masterpiece done once again about the schools. Okay. And then we can fund the rehabilitation of these schools so that they can be standard enough to produce the kind of students that we want to have.
Sorry, Reverend Slick, but before we go to picking calls, while we're talking about making sure the schools that are perhaps in comatose, while we're talking about rescuing them and the rest of them, how sure are we? What assurances do you have for the teachers who have been complaining of salaries? And the rest of them, what assurances do we have that teachers are going to be happy if peradventure it makes that particular number one seat?
I always don't want to talk about payment of salaries because it is actually a no-brainer. Anybody who is in government should be able to pay salaries without making an announcement about it, without coming to talk about it.
So we are saying the teachers are going to be happy.
I'm saying that definitely. If you are recruited by the government in one other capacity, I'm not just talking about teachers. I'm talking about if you are a worker in Abia State. That's why I talked about the massive public service reform policy that has already been developed. The promise of government is that you must get paid your salaries.
Okay, quickly, because time is no longer on our side, so we need to pick few calls and we need to just pick them and make sure we get opinions from our people out there. 0808-1826-949. I call it again. 0808-1826-949 or 0811-6052-949. 0811-6052-949. Please, let's be careful with a derogatory, statement. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Your name and your location.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
Sir, my name is Ozem Melanfijo, calling from Mamamo House.
Okay.
Sir, please, I want to beg you for 2 or 3 things. We others have been yearning for you to come and rescue Abia from this dungeon. Please, when you come in, sir, the welfare of workers and the decay of infrastructure in other states, please, sir, let it be your top priority. More especially as we are flying the Abia, as we have been the Abia flag bearer. On no any account, sir, will you defer back to PDP. We have tired of this PDP in other states. Please, sir, do other states good. We will vote for you massively, and you are already there by God's grace. Thank you, and we wish you good luck, sir.
All right, enjoy yourself. Hello, good morning. Okay, perhaps you need to call us back there. We're still here. 0808-1826-949. You could also go on Facebook, www.facebook.com/FLO949FM. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. This is Austin from Omaha. I'm calling from Indonesia.
Please, would like you to project your voice. We can hear you. We can barely hear you.
This is Mr. Austin from Indonesia in Omaha, not local government.
Carry on.
Yes, please. I've heard what the Reverend has told us this morning. I am one of those Abians that cannot be undermined from what is happening in the at the party. It is not going to be a distraction to us. All I want to say is that this man, Gregory, has the mantra, has the capacity. When you are coming to the government, we have to know what you have for Abia. Gregory is the man we need for now in Abia. If we are yearning for that thing, I'm not campaigning for him. I don't know him, but from what he has made as a foundation in Uturu or Tigwe, my brother, you need to go to Gregory University and see what this man has done so far. He has a program. He has a future for Abia. Please, I want to beg everybody. Let us bring about this thing.
All right, we would have to let you go. Thank you as well. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Your name and your location.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning to you.
From
Okay.
Thank you, Lord, precisely. First of all, I want to thank the man
speaking for you know, when people that have vision speaks, you know, it put their voice and their vision. Imagine what we have been suffering is because people that pilot our affair in government does not have vision for the people. They don't have anything, any good thinking for the masses. They see themselves there. They are there to make money, to acquire wealth. That's why you hear the governor we're going to Turkey to celebrate. After Turkey, he's now in London because of Winke's son. So that's what you can see when you put a poor man in the seat. So
please, I hope you're not referring to the governor as a poor man. Please, please. Let's be very careful with our statement.
Yes, Omoti, what I'm saying lastly is this. The Gregory Ibis has been eating fraud making. He has seen money. He has seen all sorts of life. But what we are suffering now in our governor is that he's a poor man before being a governor.
You said that what? Please. I would have to let you go. Please. I said it before, and I'm still going to say it again. Let's be very careful with the kind of statement we make, please. And this is going to be the last call before we go. The last call before we go, please. Hello, good morning. All right, we lost that. Okay, quickly, let's just wrap it up. We have less than 1 minute to actually.
Yes, Ozemina, I think you said something about the welfare of workers, and that's what we've been talking about. That actually, before Professor Gregory Ibe presented himself for this very job, he took time to carry out research and investigation, and he has a blueprint of what to do to ensure that workers actually are taken care of as they work. He has noticed that there is this kind of despondency. There's that workers are not so happy at their workplaces, and he has brought out a reform document that will be able to energize workers once again and pay them adequately as they do go to work. In the area of defection to PDP, I want to say it once again. We have said it repeatedly that what happened is that Professor Gregory Ibe was looking for a platform that will afford him the ability to fulfill his desires, actually. And part of that desire is to be a contributor in the renaissance of the Igbo nation. And when he found that very platform in Abia, he decided to key in that. What he is working on is a prospect of using Abga platform to launch the Igbo nation into the mainstream of Nigerian politics.
Okay.
So he has no going back. That's the point I want to make. He's in Abga to stay.
All right, in less than 30 seconds, please, your final words, because we don't have time anymore.
Final words, actually, there's so much within the new Abia vision, and we're not even able to go through an overview of that document today, but subsequently we shall keep doing that.
In subsequent months.
One thing I want to assure you is that it's a very rich document which Abians can look at and decide whether they have the right man for that job or not. But you have something to do, and that is go pick up your PVC and get ready to elect the right man who has a new vision for Abia State.
All right, thank you very much, Reverend Slick Ogwo. Ogwo, sorry. Reverend Slick Ogwo, sorry. I'm sorry about that. All right, so this is we're going to be wrapping it up for today. By the special grace of God, next week we'll be back again on a new Abia. My name still remains Omotola Adeleke. Have a nice day.